Dear Sagittarius, what if I told you that your destiny is hidden in a single, tiny digit at the end of your birth year? Would you dare to look straight into it? A symbol that seems meaningless, but is actually the final mark your soul left behind before it was reborn. Just one number, SMA, easily overlooked, but it carries the last imprint you engraved on this life before entering the world with a purpose uniquely your own. Today, you will uncover what it means. And once you do, you will never see your life the same way again. Sagittarius, if you're still here, it means a part of your soul has already nodded. The universe is whispering to you. You are ready to remember something ancient, something deeply important. And perhaps it all begins with you. Because as a Sagittarius, you are not like the others. You were born under the symbol of the half-human, half-horse, the centaur with the bow drawn forward and the arrow pointed straight toward truth. You did not come here to live a small life. You came to understand why people love, why they suffer, why they hope, and then use those very experiences to carve open a path for other souls still searching for light. In astrology, Sagittarius belongs to the element of fire, but yours is not the fire that destroys. It's the fire that illuminates, the fire of belief, the fire of ancient knowledge. You are always in motion, not only in your physical journey, but in the pilgrimage of the soul. You are the seeker, restless, because inside you there is always a voice whispering, "What is the ultimate truth?" And now we come to one of the most sacred symbols you may have overlooked, the final digit in your year of birth. It might sound simple, but in the Western tradition of numerology, this number is not just a symbol, it is an energetic signature, a frequency your soul chose long before it descended to Earth. You were not born in that year by accident. You engraved that number with the hand of your soul, standing beside your guardian angels and the memories of your past lives, as a quiet code to help guide the mission you were about to begin. Imagine this. Before you had a name, before you had a face, before your voice ever touched the air, you were light, a soul in the realm of spirit, choosing the garment you would wear for this incarnation. Your birth year was the fabric, your birthday the stitching, and the final digit was the final mark you engraved upon the thread of your destiny. I do not believe that we are born randomly. I believe every soul chooses its moment, its place, and its energy to fulfill a purpose that only it can carry out. For Sagittarius, this truth is even more pronounced, because you are the sign of mission, of ideals, of noble spirit. You cannot bear falsehood. You often feel different, sometimes painfully so, but it is a sacred kind of solitude, like a wise one walking alone across the desert. Because you are not here just for yourself. You are here to search for truth, and then to pass it on to others. And this is where the number comes in. In Western beliefs, especially in the mystical system of numerology developed by Pythagoras, each number from 0 to 9 carries a frequency, a message, a spiritual symbol. For Catholics, numbers hold sacred meaning. 3 represents the Holy Trinity, 7 symbolizes divine perfection, 9 stands for endings and resurrection. In Jewish Kabbalah, numerology is the secret language of God. And for the mystics, each number is a whisper from the divine. So what happens when Sagittarius, the one born to carry truth, meets the sacred vibration of that final number at the end of their birth year? A map is about to unfold. A map that doesn't just show you where you've been, but gently reveals where you're meant to return. Each number is a mirror. The number 1 speaks of beginnings, of a mission to lead. The number 5 is freedom, challenge, the journey beyond all boundaries. The number 9 is the end of a soul cycle, collective healing, the wisdom of an old spirit, and so on. Each number carries a whisper meant just for you. They don't just speak of who you are. They reveal why your heart has broken the way it has, why you've forgiven too much, why you missed the opportunities you knew deep down you deserved. When you understand the final number in your birth year, you begin to understand why you've loved, why you've lost, and why you've never quite fit in. And more importantly, you begin to understand why you were chosen. That is the deeper human lesson. No one is a copy. Each soul carries its own energy map, etched into the year of birth, activated through the sacred messiness of living. You don't need to be like anyone else. You just need to live in alignment with the light you were born to bring into this world. And if right now, as you listen, you feel something stirring inside, something ancient and hard to name, as if you were just called by a language you once knew long ago, then trust this, your soul remembers. Write in the comments below, "I feel destiny calling my name." Not for me to read, but so the universe sees that you're stepping into the position you chose long before now. And now, we're about to do something simple, yet filled with power. Look at the final digit of your birth year. Don't analyze, don't try to guess, just breathe, and let that number guide you back to the deepest part of yourself, the part that always knew who you were. Now, we'll walk through each number, from 0 to 9, to decode the frequency your soul once chose. You don't need to try to understand. When you reach your number, you'll feel it in your heart, because the soul always remembers its way home. Sagittarius beloved, when you look at the final digit of your birth year, don't see it as a static number. See it as a message, a vibration, still quietly echoing in your soul from the very moment you arrived here. Because each number doesn't just tell you what you carry, it reminds you of what you once forgot. If your final number is 0, you weren't born to follow the well-trodden path. You are the pioneer. A reborn spirit meant to create what has never existed. 0 has no closed shape. It is the circle of the infinite. For Sagittarius, this means you are born again and again within the same lifetime. You leave behind roles, identities, even versions of yourself as if they were old skins. And still, you rise. How many times have you felt like you were no longer you, but somehow lighter? The truth is, you are both the beginning and the end. And when you dare to stand in the void without fear, life opens a new doorway. You don't need certainty. You only need to remember, I was born to regenerate light, not to hold on to ashes. If your final number is 1, then you are the one chosen to begin. Your soul carries the essence of leadership, not to control others, but to lead with heart. Sagittarius with a 1 often feels older early on. You've always been ahead. You've carried the weight of responsibility even as a child. Have you ever felt that no one quite understood how your mind works? You weren't wrong. You were just walking ahead of them. Your journey is to learn to love that difference and to trust that when you're true to yourself, you become the inspiration the world didn't know it needed. Don't wait for permission to shine. Lift your bow and fire that first arrow. If your number is 2, you are the soul of connection. You love with a rare gentleness, but often forget yourself in the process of loving others. Sagittarius with a 2 isn't just wise, you are a healer. Simply by showing up. You always listen, you're always there. Even when you're the one needing an embrace. The number 2 doesn't teach strength, it teaches softness toward yourself. Remember this, love does not mean disappearing so someone else can exist. You may be a safe harbor for others, but you too deserve a place to come home to. If your final number is 3, you were born to light up the world through words, images, and feelings. You are the storyteller, a soul of art in every gesture. Sagittarius with a 3 can bring someone to tears with just a glance, or a single, soft sentence. But you've also mastered the art of hiding pain behind humor. Have you ever masked heartbreak with clever little captions? I know, and I see you. Here's the truth. You don't have to be strong all the time. When you're honest about the ache, it becomes the language of light. You don't need a stage. Just don't turn your back on your real emotions. If your number is 4, you're here to lay the foundation of something sacred. To you, everything needs structure, commitment, depth. Sagittarius with a 4 builds, not with bricks, but with belief. You may have felt pressured to settle down earlier than your peers. That's not a burden, it's a calling. You are here to remind the world that order can still exist in chaos. But please also remember, life isn't meant to stay inside lines. Let yourself break form sometimes, so the wind can move through. You don't have to hold it all together to be worthy. You are enough, even when you allow yourself to come undone. If your number is 5, you are the wild flame of transformation. Freedom is your breath. Limits feel like a cage. Sagittarius with a 5 can't sit still for long, because deep inside there's always a voice whispering, there's still somewhere I haven't been. Have you ever been called unfocused? Always changing? They don't understand that you're not afraid to begin again, because you believe in growth. You weren't born to comply. You were born to ignite. Your very existence proves it's better to feel lost but alive than to fit in and lose your soul. Write in the comments, I choose freedom even when no one supports me. Because when you are free, others begin to dream of their own wings too. If your number is 6, your heart is a sanctuary of devotion. You love in a way that few ever do, so fully, so selflessly, so completely. Sagittarius with a 6 is the mother, the father, the friend who never leaves when others are hurting. Have you ever tried to save someone, even when they didn't want saving? I understand. But you must learn this too. Love is meant to lift you up, not drag you down. You are not here to carry the entire world. You only need to place your hand on your heart and ask, does this leave me whole? When you choose yourself, the world will start choosing you back. If your number is 7, you are the sage of the unseen. You know, without hearing. You feel, without touching. You are a Sagittarius with powerful intuition, but you also carry the loneliness of being someone no one truly understands. Have you ever felt like everything around you is off? Even when others go about their day as if nothing is wrong, that is the sign of a soul awakening. You're not crazy, you're ahead. Don't hide your gifts to make others comfortable. You are the doorway between worlds. And sometimes, just by speaking, you offer healing without ever prescribing a cure. If your number is 8, your energy is one of manifestation. You're not here just to dream. You're here to bring dreams to life. Sagittarius, with an 8, often carries a large soul and is tested through money, power, and boundaries. Have you ever felt like you're tested again and again, even when you try twice as hard as others? That's because your soul is learning. True power does not come from outside. It rises from within. When your work is driven not by outcomes, but by a deeper value, you become unstoppable. Remind yourself, I don't work to succeed. I work to honor the soul I carry. And if your number is 9, you are an old soul, here to complete a cycle. You love deeply, you lose early, you carry emotions with no names. Sagittarius with a 9 doesn't live just for yourself. You live to help others heal. You may have felt like you were born in the wrong time, or that the world is too loud for the quiet beat of your heart. But you are the slow rhythm this fast world needs. You are the pause, the reminder, the light at the end of someone's tunnel. You don't need to do anything big. Just show up with compassion, and the world will slowly begin to heal alongside you. Sagittarius, after all the vibrations we've just uncovered, I invite you to pause, place your hand on your heart, and take a deep breath. What you just experienced wasn't just about listening, it was about remembering. A journey not through numbers, but through the ancient language of your soul. A language not everyone understands, but you do. Because that final number in your birth year, it isn't a prediction of your future. It's not a prophecy to fear or wait for. It's a mirror. A mirror that doesn't reflect your appearance, but reveals what you've forgotten, ignored, or never dared to name. Maybe it's a soft spot, a dream you gave up on, a wound you thought had healed, but only ever fell asleep. I don't believe in bad numbers, only souls choosing different lessons to evolve. And I absolutely do not believe in people having the wrong destiny, because if you chose that number, you had a reason. That last number is an energetic code, not to bind you, but to illuminate you, not to limit, but to reveal the walls you built around yourself. It's not here to tell you you'll fail or succeed. It's here to ask, what gifts do you hold, and how are you using them? Sometimes, just hearing that number, your heart softens. Not from fear, but from the deep realization, so that's why I've been living this way. So that's why I stayed, not out of weakness, but to protect. I used to be light, but I dimmed it because others weren't ready to receive it. Have you ever had a moment like that? When something so small, a word, a number, a sentence, felt like being awakened? When you heard your number just now, did something inside you want to cry? Not from pain, but from understanding? From finally seeing why you love like that, feel like that, live like that? If so, write in the comments, I've been touched by something sacred within me. And trust this, you are not alone in that feeling. Because beneath these words are hundreds, even thousands of souls awakening, just like you. We are not the same. But it is exactly that difference, That is the gift. You might be a Sagittarius with the number 2, so gentle that you melt inside love. Or a Sagittarius with the number 8, so strong you forget you too deserve to be held. Whoever you are, that number does not limit you. It unlocks you. I've always believed life doesn't ask us to change in order to deserve love or success or validation. It only asks one thing: to look at ourselves just once with compassion and truth. And the mirror called your final digit may be one of the gentlest ways to begin. You dared to look. You allowed it to reflect the things you once believed were your flaws, but were actually talents that had only fallen asleep. You dared to face your cycles, not to punish yourself, but to bring them to a close with wisdom. Because, do you know something? Every scar you've carried has always been hiding a gift. And that gift only opens when you're willing to look at yourself with softness. That number was never random. It was a signal. It has always been there, in every choice you made, in every turn you took when you could have gone straight, in every person you loved even when they didn't deserve it. It is a small light, always walking beside you, waiting for the moment you become still enough to realize you were never lost. You had just forgotten that you brought the map with you all along. And now that you've seen yourself in that mirror, I want you to know one more thing. Something few dare to say. That number is not just a lesson. It's a soul gift, a current of creative energy that was given to you, but that you may have never fully used. A gift waiting to be opened. When you are ready to believe that you are worthy, not just to survive, but to shine. And that is exactly what you are about to discover. What gift has been hidden inside you by that number? And how will you awaken it so you can not only live correctly, but live fully with the soul mission you were sent to carry in this world? You've stepped through the mirror, you've seen yourself inside it. Now it's time to look again, not to reflect, but to name what's been sleeping inside. Because that number isn't just a lesson. It is a song that has stayed silent for far too long inside you, waiting for someone to strike the very first note. Every number is a note. Every soul is a symphony yet to be performed. Some were born with the resonance of number 3, meant to speak, to write, to create things that stir other hearts. Some carry the frequency of number 6, and their hands can heal even the darkest day with a single, unintentional touch. Do you realize it, Sagittarius? You aren't just born to live. You were called to awaken others. What you once saw as weakness may have been the very first sign of a sacred talent. You've always been too sensitive? Then that's your doorway to deep empathy, the very thing this world is hungrier for than ever. You felt out of place in crowds? That's because you didn't come to blend in. You came to wake up a world that's fallen asleep in repetition. You were the quiet voice in a loud room? It turns out, you were the final bell still carrying the truth. Talent doesn't always come with a spotlight. Sometimes it arrives in the form of a sentence you nearly swallowed, an instinctive act no one noticed, a presence that brings peace even when you say nothing. This is the strange thing about soul-given gifts. They don't need recognition to exist, only your acceptance to be revealed. As a Sagittarius, a fire soul that carries the wind, you don't just have a gift, you are the gift. Your very presence carries light. And when you live aligned with the energy you chose, the world begins to shift. But remember, no talent is random. Every talent carries a responsibility. Every gift is an invitation to serve. Are you using your intuition to help someone yet? Are you sharing your insight, or still staying silent, thinking it's too strange? Are you lighting up the space you walk into? Or are you dimming yourself so others won't feel uncomfortable in your light? Pause for a moment and ask yourself, where am I hiding my gift? In a drawer? In the fear of being misunderstood? In an old wound? Or in the eyes of someone who needs you to speak up? Because you see, when you activate your gift, you don't just change yourself, you set free those who've been waiting for it in you. You don't need a stage to live in your truth. Just one honest moment is enough to touch another soul. Sagittarius is the only sign whose symbol is both human and myth. You are the meeting place of reason and instinct, of will and the divine. No one is built to live nobly like you, and no one feels as disconnected from the world as you do. But that is precisely what creates your mission. When you live authentically, you allow others to do the same. When you raise your voice, you unlock the hearts that have long stayed silent. When you dare to say, I am not like them, and I accept that, you bring light back to a world exhausted from trying to be the same. So, dear Sagittarius, place your hand over your heart and speak this if you truly feel ready. I allow my soul's gift to awaken, not to stand out, but to serve. But you know what? There's still one last thing. There is a part of you, once called too much, too soft, too strange, but in truth, that is your most sacred offering to this world. And if you've ever been hurt because of that, stay with me for a few more moments, because the final part is where you'll return to your wholeness. And if you're still here, I know, you're not just listening with your ears, you are hearing with your heart. Because no one stays to the end unless something in them is awakening. Maybe it's a forgotten part, maybe it's an old wound, or maybe it's a spark that never had the chance to be named. The last digit of your birth year, it doesn't tell you who you must be. It only whispers that you've always been that person. You don't need to do anything more to be worthy. You only need to remember and walk forward as if your light had never gone out. Thank you for choosing to stay. Thank you for daring to look within, even when it made you want to cry. Thank you for not listening just for yourself, but for all the souls waiting on you to live truly, so they can finally allow themselves to do the same. And if today there was even one moment where your heart stirred, write in the comments below, I am ready to live in the light of my soul. Not for me to see, but so the universe knows you've turned on the light to be guided. If this message touched you, please like this video as a way to send a signal of love back to the universe. And share it with someone you believe needs it, because sometimes one touch, one sentence, one word can save a soul that's been lost. Don't keep your light to yourself. The world needs you, not as a perfect version, but as your truest self. I'll see you again on the next journey, where your soul will continue to unfold, and the path you walk will no longer be yours alone, but the torch for others still walking in the dark. You are Sagittarius, the one who carries the arrow of truth, and today, that light has struck straight into your heart.